Hello, I'll be your guide and will take you through the process of going to small claims court. To start a small claims case, you will need to file certain papers at the circuit clerk's office and pay a filing fee. You may also have to pay a fee to have the other party notified of the lawsuit. If you cannot afford to pay these fees because you have very low income and resources, you may ask the court to waive the fees by filling out a paper called an application to sue or defend as a poor person. There are 3 documents you need to start a small claims case. The first is a new case sheet. The second document is a small claims complaint. The third document is a summons. The person bringing the lawsuit is called the plaintiff, and the person or business being sued is called the defendant. There is information on this website to help you identify who should be listed as the defendant. Finally, the first date that the parties appear in court is known as the return date. Next, you need to arrange to notify the defendant about the lawsuit. This is called serving the summons. There are specific rules about how the defendant is notified about the lawsuit. There are 3 ways to serve the summons in a small claims court case. 1, through the sheriff's office. 2, through a private process server. And 3, by certified mail. Most often, plaintiffs have the sheriff's office serve the defendant with the summons. To do this, you need to take the summons, a copy of the summons, and 2 copies of the complaint to the sheriff's office. You will be charged a fee for this service. The sheriff will then serve the summons on the defendant. In order for the court to hear your case, you will need to have proof that the defendant was served properly. Here are a couple of tips about going to court. Be sure to review them yourself and share them with any witnesses you plan to use in your case. First, dress appropriately for court as if you were going to a job interview. Second, arrive early to allow time for parking and for going through security. Court starts at 9 a.m. Third, arrange for child care for your children if possible. Fourth, be sure to turn off any cell phones or electronic devices. Be sure to bring all necessary papers for your case. Organize your papers starting with the summons and the complaint. In addition, organize any documents you want to use to prove or defend your case, such as contracts, receipts, canceled checks, and pictures. It is good to organize all these documents in a folder so you have them handy for court. The return date is the date for the defendant to appear in court and either contest or agree to the claim. The plaintiff must go to court on the return date also. The return date is not the date of the trial for the case. When you get to the courtroom, check in with the law clerk. Take a seat in the general seating area and wait for your case to be called. If you are the plaintiff, have your proof of service and other small claims case documents in hand.
All rise.
Make sure that you can show me a summons and proof that it was served on the defendant. If you don't have it, then I have no jurisdiction to hear the case. Be sure to check in with the law clerks. If you don't, an order may be entered that is against your interest. When you hear your case called, step up to the bench.
The judge will give a brief explanation about the call. This is a list of small claims cases to be heard by the judge that day. The judge will call each case by name. When you hear your name, tell the judge that you are present.
Present. Present.
Generally, you'll be instructed to go up to the bench. Take your documents with you. Respond to the judge's questions clearly and loud enough to be heard. Be polite and calm. Speak only to the judge, not to your opponent. Never use profanity of any kind or show disrespect to anyone in the courtroom.
Plaintiff, do you have proof of service? That is, proof that the defendant was properly served the summons?
Yes, Your Honor. I have an affidavit of service from the sheriff's office, and there is one in the file.
Next, the judge will ask the defendant if he or she agrees to the small claims complaint. If the defendant disagrees with the claim, the judge will schedule a trial on a later date.
Do you admit or deny that you owe the amount claimed by the plaintiff?
I deny it, Your Honor.
Okay, then I will set the matter for trial.
If the defendant agrees with the complaint, the judge will enter a court order called a judgment against the defendant for the amount he or she owes the plaintiff, plus the plaintiff's costs and fees for the case, if the plaintiff requests this at the beginning. If the defendant does not appear in court on the return date, the judge will ask the plaintiff for proof that the summons was properly served on the defendant and for any proof of the amount of money the defendant owes the plaintiff. If the plaintiff proves his or her case, the judge will enter a judgment for the plaintiff. No matter what the outcome on the return date, wait in the courtroom until the deputy circuit clerk gives you a copy of the court's order. Be sure to read it before you leave and that you understand it. If the judge schedules a trial date, you'll need to prepare your case for trial. This requires some advanced planning. Generally, proof of your case comes from papers and from witnesses who have first-hand knowledge about the facts. You must have all of your witnesses and papers with you on the trial date. Make sure you notify your witnesses about where and when to be in court. The judge will not postpone the trial if you don't have the witnesses and/or papers you need. On the trial date, several cases may be set for trial for the same afternoon or morning. Be prepared to wait until your case is called.
This is the matter of case number 06SC7722 coming on for trial, Washington versus Rivera.
Present.
Present.
Go up to the bench with your witnesses and papers. Generally, all parties will be sworn in at the same time. The judge will ask the plaintiff to go first. Be prepared to tell the judge the facts. Do not go into unnecessary detail.
What do you want to do today?
Your Honor, the defendant owes me $1,000. He agreed to install a gate in my fence. I paid him $1,000 by check. He cashed the check, but never installed the gate.
Well, you say that he cashed the check. Do you have the canceled check with you?
Yes, Your Honor. Here it is.
The judge will give the defendant the opportunity to cross-examine any of the plaintiff's witnesses, including the plaintiff, and look at any documents. When asking a witness questions, remain calm and polite. Never raise your voice or badger any witness.
I left you several phone messages to schedule a time to put in your gate, didn't I?
Yes.
And you never returned any of my calls, did you?
When the plaintiff is finished presenting his case, the judge will ask the defendant to present his case and offer any papers and witnesses. The plaintiff will have a chance to question the defendant's witnesses and review any of his documents. At the end of the proof, the judge will decide the case and enter a court order called the judgment. The judgment will say who won.
Having considered all the evidence and the law, I find for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000 plus the cost of this proceeding.
If the plaintiff wins, the judgment will include the amount of money the judge decides the defendant owes the plaintiff. If the defendant wins, the case will be dismissed and the defendant will not owe the plaintiff any money. Remember, do not leave the courtroom until you have received and reviewed a copy of the judgment. If you are the plaintiff and you win your case, there are several ways to collect the judgment. Contact the defendant and ask him when and how he will pay you. If the defendant does not pay the amount of the judgment, review the information on this website about how to collect the judgment. If you are the defendant, review the information on this website about your rights in judgment collection cases.
We sincerely hope this video and the information on this website about small claims court will be helpful to you. We would also appreciate receiving your feedback about this video at the bottom of this page. We sincerely welcome your comments.
Remember, there are many helpful resources to assist you in your trip to Kane County Small Claims Court. Be sure to contact Prairie State Legal Services, Administer Justice, and the Kane County Circuit Clerk's website. Also, visit the Kane County Law Library's Self-Help Center located on the second floor of the Kane County Judicial Center and visit IllinoisLegalAid.org for more information.